Okay, so it's launch time. You've chosen Fuse. You know the big banners are going out. So tell us about the launch and every your experience at launch when you chose Fuse International.
Okay, so basically the bit of history. We subscribed with Fuse sometime in 2019, and we launched our pilot in May 2019. We started with 500 people, and at the onset, it's always an opportunity for us to get feedback and try and get basically launch a prototype and to get people to experience it. So what we had to do was build communities, build certain series of content, curate some content, and basically launched it, right? Design the look and feel and things like that, and get feedback. And from there, we got multiple iterations, and we went live for about 3,000 people toward the end of the year in 2019. So at the onset, the response was quite dismal when we went live. Of course we were expecting to go with a big bash, but of course then we realized that a lot more needs to be done. There's no such thing as build it and they will come. Right. So I think it's interesting that toward the when the pandemic started, I think not just Celcom, but I think a lot of organizations out there experience a sudden surge in terms of digital learning for organizations that already have it. Because I was comparing notes with some of my peers in the industry, and they felt the same thing. But having said that, it didn't mean that, oh, because of the pandemic, digital learning will just take off and people will just learn. No, it doesn't mean that. I think that there are a lot of different things that requires the human touch, and the technology is just simply an enabler. To basically expand on this, let me just share my screen on some data that we've basically compiled during this time. Okay. Now, for those of you who are from, if you're from a different country, you're probably wondering what's MCO. All right. So that's basically our version of the lockdown, the movement control order. So what we experienced is when we went fully live in Q4 of 2019, the activity was quite low, even toward almost the first quarter before the MCO. Content views were not very encouraging, and given a staff strength of about 3,000. So what happened is that during the MCO, subsequently the next 2.5 months, we see a dramatic surge in content. Now, during this time, it's not an organic growth. Actually, it's if you were to zoom in, right? Now, if you look at this next slide, we basically have a platform that allows learners to enjoy content through web or through mobile app, right? And what you see here is that certain peaks and certain surges is the result of a lot of activities. So if you can see the highest peak, you'll notice that some gamification influence there, right? And the second highest peak had to do with fear of missing out, FOMO. Basically keeping tabs and letting everyone know, hey, X number of people have done it. What are you waiting for? That sort of thing. And part of our communications also had a lot to do with a bit of internal marketing. So instead of the usual boring emails, telling people, hey, you guys got to complete your learning, we decided to try a more visually appealing approach to communication. So we try to design comms that were very, try to cut down a number of words and use attractive visuals to get people's attention, because we know that we're in the business of competing for people's attention, right? When it comes to learning, yeah, a lot of people tend to put it off. So again, if you can see from all these peaks, it has to do with things like launching, issuing limited edition certificates, and these are things that doesn't cost us money really, because what we did was we discarded our traditional looking certs, and I said, hey, why not, let's just redesign something completely different and put on 2 signatures from our CXOs, and people loved it. And we even limited the circulation, and we did things like tell people, hey, for the first 100 or the first 500 who completed it by this deadline, you'll stand to receive this exclusive certificates. For those of you who completed beyond that, unfortunately, you won't be receiving it. So these are things that kind of like gets the herd mentality, get people to move. Of course, we cannot also run away from the fact that we need to launch certain compliance-related programs as well. So toward the later part of May, you'll see things like our compliance programs, code of conduct, and things like that. Yeah. So this is just an idea of some of the things that we felt worked on our people, and it gave us the desired responses. So all those were at the time were very much experimental, but we found that it works, and we'll continue to use them until today.